go. I think we're live. We'll just wait for the speaker to catch up. There we go. We're live. It's James Middick speaking, trainingsites.io. This is a live stream. This is one that I had not planned making today, but I ran into a whole bunch of other videos that people were talking about another rumor about a great brand new large language model tool, Gemini, that apparently is going to be launching some big brand new version of it. So I'm always on the lookout for all of this news, trying to figure out how does it affect anyone who is teaching or selling online courses or creating online educational content, and they want to either start, build, and grow a business. So I'm thinking about this all of the time, and one of the things that I ran into was this idea. And again, there's a couple of videos, and I'll put all of these into the trainingsites.io/join community where I get all of this stuff from. But a number of the people that are talking to were talking about Gemini 3 coming out in either the end of the third quarter or the beginning of the fourth quarter, which is not too far from now. So I was trying to think, I'm looking at where does all of this stuff fit in, all of these tools. We have Claude, we have brand new GPT-5, we have Perplexity, and then we've got this Gemini app. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, how does this really affect anyone who's trying to teach something and or trying to create courses and actually earn some money doing it. So, of course, what I did is I went and I quickly went to, in this case, I went to Google Gemini and I started to do a little bit of research. So this is kind of what I want to go over today. And again, this is a live session. It's totally unstructured. I get it. If there are comments or questions, put them into the comments below and I'll do my best to answer those. But, I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out where all of this fits in. And here's the thing about the rumors. One of the there's a whole bunch of new things that are coming out apparently in Gemini 3, and I'll make sure I spelt this correctly. Again, I just threw this together just here in the last couple minutes. But there's a couple things that were kind of mentioned that I thought were interested. And the first kind of one was, well, actually, let me step back. One of the things I noticed, if you came out GPT-5 over the couple weeks or months before the official release of GPT-5, what it seemed like is there was like little pieces of stuff coming out over the past, 4 months, 5 months. There was things like Google Operator, which was like that ability to take over the browser. Things, for example, around the memory and persistence and adding projects. It's like they add all of these features on, and they kind of, in GPT-5, what they ended up doing is they kind of mushed them all together, right? So I'm taking a look at what's going on with Google and Gemini and listening to the rumor. So I thought I'd better do a little bit of deep research on what was happening there. And in fact, I did do that, and I have the document here, and I'll make it available to you so that you can see it. And this one right here was basically what I got, something like 50 some pages of stuff came out. And I basically asked, I said, look, you've got all of these cool Google tools. How is this going to affect us in the next 6 months? I didn't say a year from now or 2 years from now. I'm trying to figure out, like, what's going to happen by the end of the year? What's going to happen if we're in this space and we're trying to figure out what AI tool to use, which is the right one? What can we do with it? Where should we spend our time actually doing stuff with it? So this is kind of what I came up to. And I'm going to bring this up just to put it in perspective. Now, some people ask me, and again, this is stuff that I get asked on a regular basis. Let's see if I can get my trusty video pencil here working properly. I think personally there's kind of 4 camps in the AI space. And these are the ones that I kind of look at. So I'm going to do my best here and see if we can get these to right. So I think we got 4 camps, right? There's kind of the grandfather of it all. So we've got, which is now GPT-5. The other one, of course, is Claude. Then we've got Perplexity. And then we've got Gemini. So in as much as there's all these other tools that are available, these are the 4 that I think are kind of the 4 that people use on a regular basis. And when they use them, they're going to their desktop, right? They log into a computer. Sometimes you can log into a phone, but they're basically right into the computer. That's where they spend their time. That's where they're doing things like prompting and learning good ways to prompt. Sometimes now they can interact with voice or upload pictures or be involved, basically having that personal expert with them, and that's getting really, really good. And in terms of the way that we interact with it and the kind of responses that we get, that's improving really quickly. And in fact, that was kind of the big thing with GPT-5. What was its ability to really step out from the other tools in terms of how quickly it gave good answers, and it was able to not kind of get lost in the weeds as opposed to some of the other ones. So here's the thing, I've got these 4 different tools, but they're all a little bit different. Which one should I use? Which is the best one for me? So I'm going to show you kind of how I look at it here and see if I can get this to move forward. There we go. I'm just learning how to use this video pencil thing here, so bear with me. Here's kind of the way, again, if I'm thinking about which tool to use, especially when it's about creating content or teaching stuff, this is the way that I kind of look at it. So if I put kind of a line going this way, hopefully I can write small enough that it makes sense. But on the start of it, we've got the GPT-5 is over here. The next one is Claude. Then I'm going to put, in this one, we'll actually put Perplexity. And then I'm going to put Google here, just so that we can see it. Sorry for the bad penmanship. So that's kind of the way that I look at it. When I'm thinking about which one to use or where do these 4 camps fit in, and this is important because there's something weaving here that Google's doing that I don't think people realize yet, and why it's going to be such a big difference for anyone who's teaching again or selling courses. So here's kind of the first one. And again, this is my personal opinion, my observation. You may disagree with me. I'm not here to basically prove one thing right or not. This is just the way I look at it when it applies to doing stuff with teaching and courses. So I kind of think of this one as more about the API. So their focus is on being leading edge and being that go-to platform that people use to actually interface with AI. So that's the way I kind of see it. Another one is Claude, and I think of that one more along the fact of a connector. So they've done some really cool stuff in programming, but also allowing the AI tool to connect to all different tools. They've got that model context protocol. They've got all of these different tools so that AI can interact externally with all of the stuff that we maybe use on a regular basis. Then there's Perplexity. And Perplexity is really about, again, in my opinion, it's the replacement for what was search, and it's about doing research and organizing research. So those are kind of the 3 things that are there. And when I'm looking at these, when I'm trying to figure out where everything fits in, the one that's interesting, and I don't know if I can get this to move over. There we go. The one that's interesting here is Google. Google has, it's all about real life. And this is why I think they're in really good shape. What they have here is the Google Workspace. And the reason I think this is important and most people kind of don't get is that that workspace is where people are actually living and doing their stuff on a regular basis. And it doesn't matter if they're in school or in a classroom or in an office or at home. There's a lot of people that are using Google Workspace. And the thing that's interesting for me is that when I take a look at this, I'm thinking of Workspace. Most people don't even understand that they're actually using AI. It's just kind of tools that are in Workspace. So it's not about going to a browser, going to GPT-5, putting prompts in, things like that. It's not about making sure that you go to Perplexity to do some research and do a search to get some kind of results, then go to somewhere else. Again, it's interesting because Perplexity also added the brand new Comet browser, which brings those 2 together, which is a whole other video. But we've got this Google Suite and then all of these experiments that they've been doing. So just to give you an idea of some of the experiments that have been covered in the last little while. Again, I've done a number of videos on these ones But if you go to labs.google/experiments, if we take a look at all of these ones that are here, and again, these are just experiments, but the ones that are here are not about connecting things and they're not about AI. They're about real life experiments that real people do on a regular basis. So just to go looking through some of them here, I'm going to mention, I've done videos on a lot of these. Some of them you'll recognize, some of them that you won't. I did one on portraits, which is basically a interactive avatar that is trained on an expert's information. There's also this one called Doppel, which just came out in the last little while, that allows you to actually interact with images and change images and start to combine them and get creative with images. Another one here, which was Flow, which was filmmaking tool that lets you create cinematic clips, series, and stories with consistency. So that one's been out a little while. We've got Project Mariner, which is agent interaction. Really cool one. There's this one called Stitch, allowing you to put pieces together for applications, mini apps we've been talking about. Where's the other one that they had that I really, really liked? Career Dreamer, Daily Listen podcasts, Notebook LM, all about stuff for learning. Learn about new topics at your own pace. And in fact, one of the things that they just did is if I go to Gemini right now and I go, let me just open this one up. Yeah, so if you're in Gemini right now and you're looking at the bottom of the screen, there's also one that says guided learning. So this is using all that Socratic teaching techniques, and it doesn't answer any questions. It basically asks you questions based on where you're at or your knowledge level and guiding you towards a particular outcome that you want. So we've got all of these additional pieces. They're all multimodal. They're all creative. And these are all getting created in real time in the labs. And they've started to launch these ones. And where are all of these different pieces? Help Me Script, Illuminate, conversational AI on YouTube, Google Vids, music, mixtapes, talking tours, food, say what you see. So they've got all of these apps that are just live and real ones. And if we actually go in and we just take a look now at some of the tools, let me just pull one up here. We'll go to a couple of the Google tools in the workspace. Ones like Drive, for example, if I go to my Google Drive, we've now got Gemini built in on the right-hand side. If I'm going and I'm taking a look at my Google Doc, we also have Gemini built in on the actual doc. If we're working in Gmail, we now have Gemini built in with the actual doc. So people are in these applications on a regular basis, and what they're starting to do is they're starting to fold in all of these other tools that they've been working on in the experiments. So it's not about using a prompt or going to a desktop. It's actually them weaving or interweaving or connecting all these different real life tools in with the workspace that the people spend their time in. And it doesn't matter if they're actually, in a university kind of space. And I'll put some links here. One of the ones that I follow is there's a whole section on Google about learning and education. They've actually got August 14th. This one was done today. They actually have San Diego State University, higher education. They're all in on AI. And in fact, they give all of the tools to the students. They give everyone, and they're actually with micro credentials, they said. So that means that any proprietary data is actually buttoned down. And there is privacy that is all set up within this learning institution version of Gemini, but they give everyone Notebook LM. They encourage people to actually use the AI tools. And then they get focused on the actual stuff that a traditional teacher might have done, which is all of those things I've been kind of talking about, which is learning experiences, case studies, actually doing live interactions in groups, all of these additional pieces that we kind of got away from when everyone got excited about e-learning or creating talking head videos. So if you haven't, I'll put the links to these ones, and there's an interesting video there about what they're actually doing and how they're setting it up. Also things, for example, one of the members at trainingsites.io brought up storybooks, which came out yesterday. Which was yesterday. Actually, I want to show you this one too. This is the Google Drive one. We've actually got the ability to have all of the documents that you maybe are collecting or working on if you're a student or if you're an end user that normally would buy a course. You're sitting here and you're going, man, I got it all. I got Gemini in working on my documents, whether it be research or summarizing, creating reports, any of that material that you would normally do or try and find out. You've got quick answers based on your own content here. What were some of the others? Again, I'm just doing this ad hoc. I have a whole bunch of additional kind of videos on this one, and I just kind of want to wrap up here and think about this in the next 6 months. And this is one of the ones that I was putting it together, trying to figure out how it all fits. Is let's say, for example, let me go. I just want to make sure we have the. So what does this mean actually if you're selling an online course? And I'm just trying to figure out, okay, I created a course, I want to sell it, I want to earn some money with it. So any information-based course right now, especially things that are for beginners, are at high risk. So anything that is a what or a how, those things are completely automated. So for example, it's not about the content, about the outcome in the community. You must shift your focus from selling a collection of videos to selling a transformation. This means that the course needs to include things that AI can't easily replicate: personal feedback, community, and live coaching, and accountability. So I think these are the things that if you're in that course space and you're just thinking, I want to earn some money, I want to build a business, start thinking over this part: community sites. So even if you're doing a membership site, right? You've already built out a community and you've got some content for value, but you're going to have to monetize it and doing things like giving expert access and using AI as a feature. And this gets to do with these avatars and bots that are trained on yourself. If you're creating YouTube videos, the one that jumped out at me when I was looking at those live stream ones, the labs one, and here's the one right here: conversational AI on YouTube. You got a billion YouTube videos. You can find a YouTube video and now talk to it and converse with it. So why would a content course be of any value when there's a billion contact courses available online just by going to YouTube? And again, that is Gemini in the background doing it. Did I go to Gemini and log in and say, here's my YouTube video, I want you to summarize it or put it together? Or were you where you already are interacting with the AI tool? And again, it's not in the browser. It doesn't have to be in the browser. All of these things that we're talking about are independent of the location of where you're interacting with them. And that's why I think wearables are going to be kind of cool as well, kind of moving forward. What was the other ones that were here? And again, these are just from my notes. I'll make these all available so that you kind of see where I'm thinking with all of this. Um, you know, just in terms of spaces, the ones that came out, they did, one was Genie last week where you can create virtual words. They've got Veo and Astra. Veo, for example, and this is the one that we just did. Let me just do, I'm going to open up Gemini because I did one a couple minutes ago, and I'll see if I can actually get it to work. Where's my Gemini one? I'm going to show it. Because in Gemini today, go and close that one. Let's go take a look. We had Storybook, which was added here. And what I did is, did I get this one here? Does it get created? No, let me go back and see if I had Storybook, if one was actually, there it is. So I created a storybook. So this was the first test that I did. But if you think about from a learning perspective, not only can I create a storybook that might be about how to do something, or whether it happened to be about changing the brakes on my car, or understanding or getting ready for a class, or being able to remember ways that are visually interactive and have an actual storybook or process to have it available for me, that can now be done. Now, the interesting part for me on this is these graphics, this little storybook that went through was put together by ChatGPT, and I asked for this kind of image to be created. So the prompt that I used was about a claymation art style here. So I asked for that. But you can actually put pictures of real people or real situations and actually have those images. But these images are being created. That is from Veo and ImageFX and all of the other tools that were in the labs before. So they're starting to roll in all of these pieces into the tools that we're already using, and we may not even know about it. And I think that's why Google, I'm I'm thinking that they might have a lead and that they're thinking about this more than people realize. And we look at stats and say how many people have access to AI tools right now. You may be thinking, it's based on how many people log into ChatGPT right now. But I would think that there's more than one person using the Google Workspace that doesn't even realize that they're actually using Gemini in some of the tasks that they're already doing. So this is going to be a real interesting space. I'm going to put this document here because I think it affects not only students and the way that people learn stuff, but we've got to deliver it a little bit differently. And actually, let me bring that up because I just thought of it right now after I was reading this one right here. This is the one again. This is the one for learners and formal schooling. So I get asked a couple times from people in the higher education space, like, what is going to happen to a traditional teacher? Or why should I bother going to university? And here's kind of the thing that it came up with. Again, this was research from Gemini itself. I didn't run it anywhere else. So is it accurate? I don't know. This is kind of the way that people or Gemini came up with it based on the discussions that I've been having. And there's actually some Gemini announcements this morning about personalization and Storybook and these other pieces, which I'll do in another video. So is this a little bit biased? It might be. I actually asked it if it was biased at the end of doing it, which was kind of an interesting answer that I got. But you've got a situation. Do I go to a university or college, or do I take a kind of a longer period course, or do I now use these tools that are going to come out within the or be more prevalent in the next 6 months? Do I spend time with those to get a personal answer for myself from a personal assistant that is always there and always available, and someone who knows all of the information and can work with me one-on-one based where I'm at least answer or get me started on the right questions that I need to ask? Think of that Google study mode that just came out, and basically have all of the trained information that you've been collecting in your Google Suite, your Google Workspace. All of those things are now available to it. So, you can control what you learn, and you have it always available all the time, and you only get the answers to the questions that you ask. And it will even ask you questions to guide you in the directions that you want to actually do. So if you're in a formal schooling, came up with this kind of table. It's like, do you go to a traditional school or a traditional high-end course? Right now, as an example, in the States, and again, I didn't read all of the notes on this one, but for students, they're giving the pro level, the educational version of Gemini and Gemini Workspace to all of the students. So they have the whole suite of Gemini tools that are there. So all of these ones we've been talking about, the study guide, Notebook LM, Storybook now, those are all available for 20 bucks a month to all of the students. Or do you spend a yearly tuition to sit through a lecture with someone who's trying to dump content on you and not have an experience necessarily, or not get you to do interactive stuff with the actual content, with the application of it? And again, the 6-month forecast, this is the one that it came up with. So first, students will start using these tools for homework help. So just, it's September right now, end of August, beginning September, you've got all these people in the educational market are coming in, and they've all got access to Notebook LM. They've got the Google AI Pro plan. They've got the whole workspace. They're sitting there and they can create the study mode stuff. They can do quiz preps. They can organize all of their content. They can do flashcards. They can make sure that they have everything the way that they want it. They can create everything that they need right within Workspace. And their expectations are not, am I going to sit through that particular thing? So, if I'm going to be in a class, how do I need or want to spend my time? And I don't know if that's, really what's going to happen here. And I think, it said here, teachers giving lectures to designing experiences. This is the real big shift that has to happen for teachers, but also for course creators. And the term that I hear from professional educators all the time is this idea, not necessarily of only professional educators, which I'm not, but I hear the term about having a flipped classroom. And I think there's a new kind of flipped classroom now. And that flipped classroom is, here's the AI tool, you're going to use it already. Here's the prompts. Here's the content that I want you to create. And then let's go see what we can do with it. So, instead of here's your content and then someone going behind your back to either regenerate it or regurgitate it and give it back to you or not apply it. It's like, here's the tool, here's how to use it. This is what I want you to do. And then actually we'll go talk about it, apply it, see what happens, look at the variations, guide, mentor all through that, coach through that. So I think it's a different kind of flipped classroom. And I know for me personally, what I'm trying to do is really work hard on flipping that whole idea of a membership slash or community to focus more on live events and live teaching, for lack of uh, a better description. And in membership sites and communities, the other thing that I'm working really hard on, and again, this isn't for everyone. This is just what I'm thinking. All of this stuff here, this is what I'm planning for in the next 6 months. I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out, am I the only person that knows this information? Am I the only person that can create a video course or a video lesson that is important to people in a community or on a campus? No, so not even close. So what I'm trying to do personally is I'm asking the people in the community to start creating stuff and start sharing it within the community, as long as it's about starting, building, and growing an education business. So not only is it not about the teacher creating the content, I think that user-generated content and the people that are actually in the community creating the content and sharing it is a huge value, and it's going to become even more so if it is in a shared community that is all about a particular topic or a particular outcome that you have coming out. So I hope you kind of, I'm going to do a couple more videos in a second on this one, but I think this is going to be a lot of fun if you like talking to people, if you like interacting with people, if you like sharing all of your experiences with people. It's going to be a lot of fun. And there is a way to monetize it. That's the thing that a lot of people say, well, if I give away my content, I can't earn any money with it. Or, I got to protect my content and get people to, give me money and passwords, and I need monthly payments, that kind of stuff. The value that is going to be a lot more fun is actually having the work with a group or someone who has more experience in you actually using this stuff and doing the AI tools and playing around and experimenting. And people will pay for that community or the access to other people that have a shared interest, because it's going to get incredibly complicated with the overwhelm. Now, again, this was unplanned. I'm just talking and ranting here because of stuff that happened this morning. One of the things that I do, like all of the time, like most people, is like I'm on my phone. I got YouTube shorts running. I got TikTok stuff running. I've got, YouTube videos that I watch and I subscribe to. But here's the thing that I'm noticing personally. I've been doing this, AI stuff for, I guess, close to 2 years now. And what's happening now is if I go to my Facebook feed, or if I go to, um, you know, uh, TikTok and images or any of the YouTube shorts, what's happening now for me personally is there this huge influx of videos that I get about, how to use or how to create an AI prompt. So there's a lot of people now who are getting up to speed on AI, and they're starting to teach or share what they're doing or examples of what they're just learning now. And the reason that this is going to become a challenge for all of us is because it's getting easier to create that content and everyone's learning about it. It's not as if it's hidden content. Everyone's learning how to do it, and some people are sharing it. So if I look 6 months from now and I look at my Facebook feed or my YouTube shorts or my TikTok feed, I'm going to see billions of people talking about how to use AI and how to use AI prompts. And if you can find a community or a group of people that are looking for an outcome or transformation and work only with those people, It is going to dramatically reduce the overwhelm. It's going to be coming, and it's already starting. I know, for example, for me, and I know there's algorithms and stuff that kind of control, who gets access to what or who, what feeds show up. But if I go at just this morning at what I saw, I would suspect that 70 to 80% of the videos that I saw were all about how to use AI, and it was mostly about here's the top 10 tools to use, here's my list of favorites. Here's how you create a prompt. Here's the best prompt for this. But there's no big strategy with it. There's no big picture about how is this going to apply to us if we're creating a learning environment. And that is exactly why I think this whole idea with Google being in that live workspace here at the end, where this is where everyone is. This part right here, let me see if I can connect here. That workspace, that place where we're all living and breathing now, that's the one where Gemini is going to sneak in. That's the secret sauce that's connecting everything. And there's going to be a real explosion for Google, especially now if this Gemini 3 comes out before the end of the year. So there's my little rant for today. Hope you kind of enjoyed it. If you have comments, just put them below. If you agree with me, that's fine. If you don't agree with me, that's fine too. If you want to talk about it, hey, let's discuss it. If you like this channel, give me a thumbs up. Just let me know what you like or what you don't like. That would be wonderful. And I would love for you, obviously, to join the trainingsites.io campus. And I want to know what you're working on. For example, I just found out about the Storybook stuff from Gemini app today. If you've done some that are interesting and they're about the education space, put them up there. Go log in, put them up there, share them. If you've got other tools that you've run into that are important for your education business, get in and share them. We can all learn from each other. So my name is James, trainingsites.io. Love to have you in the community, and I'll be on probably later today because there's all this great stuff happening for anyone who wants to start, build, and grow an education business. Take care and expect the best.